China has hit back at the United States following reports that Washington may blacklist Ant Group. The move comes just as Alibaba's fintech arm is slated to go public in what could be the world's largest IPO. China says the U.S. is abusing the concept of national security to oppress foreign companies.
美方应切实尊重市场经济和公平竞争原则，遵守国际经贸规则，为各国企业在美国投资经营提供开放、公平、公正、非歧视的营商环境。中方将继续采取必要措施，维护中国企业的正当权益。
The U.S. State Department has reportedly submitted a proposal to the White House to add Ant to a trade blacklist. Now, they fear that Ant's e-payments platforms, such as Alipay, will give the Chinese government access to sensitive banking data of U.S. citizens. If confirmed, Ant would join companies like Huawei on the entity list, which would curb access to U.S. technology. Now, Ant is China's dominant mobile payments company. It offers services like loans and payments via mobile apps. Most of its U.S. transactions are with merchants accepting payment from Chinese travelers. Now, all of this comes as Ant gears up for a massive dual listing in Hong Kong and Shanghai, which could raise a record $30 billion. Andrew Collier is Managing Director at Orient Capital Research. He joins us now for more. Andrew, how much damage would a blacklisting of Ant in the US be to its business and IPO?
It would not be terribly damaging to its business because only 5% of its revenue is coming from the United States. It would be mildly damaging to the IPO because obviously a company that cannot grow in the United States, one of the world's largest markets, it means you're not going to pay a high price for the shares that go IPO. However, given that China has such a large domestic market for payments and for loans and for investments, Ant still has a very good business ahead of it. And there's a lot of Chinese investors who are going to buy the IPO even in Hong Kong dollars overseas. So I don't expect the IPO to be massively hit. It might just be a mild decline in the proposed share price that they would offer for it.
Well, it's not just in the US. At home, it's facing some troubles too. The Chinese securities regulator is also reported to be delaying Ant's IPO, investigating it for potential conflict of interest. Is that then perhaps a bigger impact on investor demand for the IPO?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite serious. Nobody has any idea. I mean, at least I haven't seen any press reports about what the CSRC is doing, the regulator, or why they would be against that IPO, given that it's been in the works for a while. This could be political cover for something else. Maybe they'll withdraw the IPO, claiming domestic purposes, even though it's really been caused by the United States pushback. It's very unclear what's going on the Chinese side, but the regulatory system in China is always quite opaque. So this is not a surprise to me.
Well, Ant was reportedly hoping to list before the U.S. elections 3 more weeks. You know, what impact do you think it would have the timing on its debut?
The timing of the blacklist? It's possible the banks will pull the IPO. I think the CSRC, the domestic regulatory situation, is still the big issue. If they come out and say that they're going to halt it, then that's over. It could be that the banks, which is the Chinese banks and the U.S. banks, there's a joint group doing this, could decide that there's too much uncertainty. But there's a lot of demand. Everybody knows it's a domestic play. It's a Chinese domestic play. And so you could still make pretty good money on it. So they may go forward. It's very unclear. The bankers are probably burning the midnight oil figuring that out right now.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. Andrew Collier, Managing Director of Orient Capital Research.